Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and Governor Ely's March 28th, 2025 revised order extending participation by all members in any meeting of a public body. This meeting of the Great Barrington Board of Health will be conducted both in person and via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town website, townofgb.org. Committee members and members of the public may attend this meeting in person or remotely. Instructions for remote access can be found at the top of this agenda. Every effort will be made to ensure that those attending remotely can access the proceedings in real time via technological means. That being said, we will officially call the meeting to order at 6:32 with our first roll call, Peter Stanton.
Aye.
Dr. Ruby Chen.
Aye.
And I am here as well, Michael New. First order of business is approval of minutes from both August and September. And if there's no comments or amending that needs to be done, we can take a motion to approve those.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
And then the roll call will be Peter,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. All right. Rebecca, is there a way to turn these owl speakers up?
I'm not getting.
I think there's a button at the bottom. Is that any better?
Yes, that's better. Yeah, we go up a little bit more. Okay, there we are. Board of Health questions and or updates.
Nothing for me.
Okay, anything?
Nothing with me.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the first order of business, which is to discuss an extension request by Mr. George Beebe for additional time to correct at 535 675 South Egremont Road. Mr. Beebe's here, just in time.
Just,
Yeah.
I said, I ended up waiting half an hour outside, but maybe not tonight.
No, you're first up tonight.
Okay,
You wanna give us a brief?
I'm asking
Yep.
for an extension again.
Yep.
Now, you should know that the Board of Health is being used to harass me. That was what the whole thing was. There was no reason for her to call or Susan, but never knows. Now, I won hands down in court. The court ruled every single thing in my favor, blew her out doors off.
And this is in regards to the
Okay, this is
eviction
in
process?
regards to her leaving.
Okay,
Alright, she's hired some sleazebag lawyer from Boston now. To ask for a stay. And we have to go back again to the same judge. He has to approve whether or not he's gonna do it. We have no date for that. I've been not able, she won't let me in the house. I go down there just to do my farm stuff. She comes out and screams at me. She's out of her mind.
okay. And how much time are you
I
looking?
just another, I guess, the other house is still empty, so there's no problem there.
Yep.
And the house here is the victim of her using the legal system to thwart me taking over my property.
Okay.
And it's an open and shut case with the court. Do you have a copy of the ruling?
No, but I understand from my conversation with Rebecca that there's still ongoing legal proceedings and.
But it shouldn't be going on. You guys are being used, or being, at least this repair that needs to be done, and maybe it would take a day. A few electrical things, that's it.
Well, in my mind, if you're not able to get in there and you and the tenant have ongoing legal issues, my take on it would be to grant an extension. Well, what did we do last time? 60 days?
2 months.
And I say rather than muddy the waters further on our end, that we give another extension for 60 days to see, let their legal process play out.
I think with the Thanksgiving and holidays coming up, we should just do to the end of the year.
End of the year.
Good.
Okay.
Because it's, you know, it's out of his hands. And he really has no choice in the matter at this point. So,
Okay.
you
So,
know, and holidays are coming up with, you know, so I think probably to the end of the year or till.
do our
The
January,
first, yeah, I was gonna say in the first week of January or whenever we might have a meeting next. Makes most
Alright.
sense.
I'm assuming it won't be on January first, so let's say January 8th. And that way we'll see you again or we'll have an update.
Yeah.
Alright,
I'm
so,
in contact with Rebecca, and so she knows what's going on.
okay,
She really knows, what's going on,
yes.
cause she gets the earful, you don't gotta have to listen to it.
Okay.
Okay,
So January 8th is the date, so we'll
Alright.
take a motion to extend the extension. From what number is it? 530?
675.
675.
I make a motion to extend this for 675 South Egremont Road until January 8th of 2026.
Right,
I second.
and a roll
January
call, yes,
Eighth,
yes. Peter,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. All right, sir,
you guys are super efficient.
I'm trying to be.
Thank you.
All right,
Right.
good night.
Don't forget your jacket.
Good
I
luck,
guess I'm not.
good luck.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is special permit review. From an application from Catherine and Trevor Hurst. And it's to demolish existing non-conforming home at 23 Rossiter Street. And erect new residential structures on the same lot. And I see Trevor Hurst, just a moment, Trevor will promote you to a panelist. There we go. All right, Trevor, we can, there we are.
Okay, hi, everybody.
Is there anyone else who needs to be on?
My
Thank you.
wife was trying to sign on, but she had something come up at school, so she's still driving home from our daughter's school. She's
All right,
trying
I
to
see.
sign in from the car, but I'm not sure if she was able to.
Okay, I see that, is that Catherine? I'm guessing that's the, that's.
Yeah, that should be her.
All right, I'll see, I'll try to promote her to panelist if she's on the phone, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but. Anyhow, if you want to. Begin, okay, she's still on the phone, so I guess it's just you we get to see tonight.
Okay,
All right, so if you just want to give us a brief overview of what you're doing, where you're at, and. What we need
Okay.
to do.
so we have applied for the zoning board of appeals special permit. We submitted all documentation. We met with the planning board last week and they voted to approve our application and to move ahead to meet with the ZBA. The design advisory committee meeting has taken place quite a while back with Catherine present. So we are just moving through the steps of having the special permitting process go through, and this Board of Health meeting is been put on the agenda by Chris Rembold.
Okay.
So I'm
And
not
this is the
sure.
place.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, I think our interaction with this property was in terms of fencing around it at one point back this summer, or was it longer?
Yes, there was a complaint that the property was dangerous and the roof was caving in and something with a fence, and we clarified that. That was a non-issue as per your vote on the Board of Health. And this time around, we are just here for the normal procedure of the special permitting process.
Right,
I'm only aware of us needing to bait and inform you of baiting before demolition or trap.
Yep.
I'm not sure what else we need to take care of and what the process is with the Board of Health. And, you know, let me know what information I should provide to you. We did submit all of the application documentation and processes, and there's a cover letter to describe the project. I'm happy to describe more in detail if that's what you need. I'm just not sure what it is that I can provide you with.
Okay, Rebecca, is there anything you'd like to add to? In terms of what we need or don't need, or if we're,
Sure, when you get to the point of demolition, I just wanna let you know that there's a separate Board of Health application and checklist from the building department. The building department is likely to remind you to come talk to me when you file for that demolition permit with them, but there's two. Not always known that there's an additional Board of Health checklist for demolition, so just a heads up there.
I believe we have that, and we've spoken with Matt about it. So that should be in due process.
right, otherwise, it's just, I'll pass on, there's no other issues to.
What's on town utilities?
Yeah. Okay,
I do have a question concerning your plan for the demolition, waste. How are you planning to, take care of that?
Well, we are hiring a contractor to do that. We have also put in a request to check for possible asbestos in parts of the building. And we would take care of it as per a licensed contractor, and separating out what needs to be separated out.
So you're not quite sure if there's asbestos in the building at this point?
We don't think so, but we will make sure that we will look carefully. The first conversations with the contractor said that sometimes in these old buildings, some of the piping connectors could have asbestos, but the building itself doesn't. So it would just be parts in the cellar where there's pipes that were insulated using asbestos, possibly. So we're not expecting there to be any larger amounts of it. The walls or also the outside is wood.
Mhm.
The building has a large amount of water damage, which is why it's not salvageable. So that's one part that we are aware of and that we will take care accordingly. But it's through a licensed contractor.
usually they just crunch it up and put it in dumpsters.
I wonder where the dumpsters go to. Are some parts recyclable or not?
They usually go to a big yard where they'll separate out anything that is recyclable, yeah.
They went to that, okay.
Yep, and then any hazardous stuff, like your contractor will go through and they'll separate that out.
Will there be some sort of barrier so that as it's being torn down, that passerby and people living close by, it's a very busy street, whether there will be protective?
Yes, so we're planning on putting protective walls up with boards, especially the neighbor to the eastern side is very close. And, you know, we would protect them from any possible debris from the demolition. On the other side, there's a large amount of shrubs and grass. We would take measures to protect property, of course, and we would discuss with the contractor what we would need to do if there's special considerations that you require us to take care of. We're happy to do so, but it's already been a topic of conversation to protect neighboring properties.
Right. And is there a time limitation to the amount of work that's being done so that there's no noise issues?
Sorry, I
Is
didn't
there-
understand the question.
Is there a time limitation to when the work is being done, like 8 to 5 or 8 to 8 or what, so that the noise level is supported by our noise ordinance?
Yes, I mean, we would be mindful of that, of course, and of course, it'd also be during daytime. We wouldn't want to be working under floodlights. And we would, be considerate of neighbors, of course. So we are not expecting to be working outside of regular business hours.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing further from the board, then I'll look for a motion to pass this on to the zoning board of appeals.
I make a motion to pass this along to the zoning board.
I second.
And our roll call will be Peter,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
and I vote, I vote. All right, great.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank
Good
you.
luck with your project.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, next up is special permit review, another one from Kurt Broom. And it's for alterations to a pre-existing non-conforming home at 271 Monument Valley Road. And this will be another referral to the zoning board of appeals. And just give me a moment. Can you hear in person?
Hi, no, my name is Brian Bordenero. I'm the architect on
Okay.
the
Is
project,
there
so
anything
I'm,
needs to be, is attending,
no,
no, just you.
just me.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So there's a single family house at 271 Monument Valley Road. We're looking to put an addition and make some alterations to the house. It's currently non-conforming because it doesn't meet the front yard setback. It meets all other requirements from the zoning board.
271, for quick reference, is that towards the 23 side or towards the?
271 is right on the corner of Lovers Lane
Oh, okay.
and Monument Valley Road.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
So say again about the setback.
The house doesn't meet the front yard setback, which is 50 feet. It's only about 18 feet from the road right now.
So it needs a special permit.
Since it's a non-conforming building, we need a special permit to make the alterations we're asking
Nice.
for.
okay,
The alterations we're doing, are expanding the size of the kitchen and taking an existing screen porch and making it into a mudroom and entry space. There's no changes to the bedroom count in the house as part of the project.
okay. So. Really, there's nothing for us, no jurisdictional things.
No, we're not changing any water lines or anything to the well.
Nope,
And the new footprints, are you changing the footprint at all, or just,
there is an addition in the area where the kitchen is going.
Yep.
Um,
and that doesn't impact the well setback or anything like that?
it doesn't impact where the well or the septic system are. No.
Okay,
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
I didn't know that was. So the kitchen area would still not fit the 50 feet setback. How far is the kitchen from the well?
The kitchen is about 26 feet from the road.
Oh. How are they, is there any like propane tanks or anything like that in front of the area?
There is two small above ground propane tanks right now that they use for cooking. As part of the project, we're gonna remove the oil tanks that are in the basement and we're gonna do a 500-gallon underground propane tank, but that's gonna be close to the driveway. Which is on the opposite side of where the well and the septic system
So it
are.
won't be right in front.
Nope,
all right, looks pretty clear cut from what we're concerned with. Any questions, Peter?
Nope.
I know you got a plan there, pretty straightforward.
No, I don't have any question.
All right. Well, for a motion then to pass this on to the zoning board without comment.
I make a motion to pass it along to the zoning board.
And second,
I second.
roll call will be Peter,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you for coming in and
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next up is a discussion for extending agent enforcement authority to the health inspectors of the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative to work on behalf of the Great Barrington Board of Health as directed by our esteemed health agent for Barrington. You wanna share a few words about this?
Sure, I think Jane Smith is here.
Okay.
Last week.
Yeah, just call Jane.
So. I'm not sure what month we. quoted, the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative as agents, but we had that time frame to expire October 1st of this year. And, a couple things. First of all, our health inspector, James Massey, has left the health department, moved on to big greener pastures. So we're currently without a health inspector. So that's one thing to consider. And then, the work that the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative has done thus far, there's still some loose ends with some housing inspections and maybe some complaint follow-up that, they'd like to be approved as agents to continue that work just legally. So, we're gonna have a discussion here, but, the position for the health inspector has been posted on our website and on Indeed and a couple different public health organizations in the state. So we're actively looking to hire another health inspector, hoping to get someone in before the end of the year. So maybe something to consider is to appoint the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative again through the remainder 2025, and we can reassess in 2026, but
That makes sense. Are you,
up to you, maybe,
I know Jane's here, are you comfortable doing that? Seems like it's worked so far,
sure.
and it's kind of what you need to do.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's, Rebecca had also, and I had talked, Rebecca, I wasn't sorry that I wasn't able to return your email. But I just wanted to also, this is the time of year where we're required to talk to the towns and let you kind of know who we are. And I wanted to know if I could just have like 10 minutes to do like an overview. Yeah, all right, perfect. Can I share my screen by chance? Do you know?
You can, if you can't, just a second, I'll make sure, I think I have to, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Ah, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so I have this all lined up so that I don't belabor this, knowing that it's important to keep in mind everyone's time. So this is a memorandum that really just goes over kind of like the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative is part of a public health excellence grant. And we receive significant funds to, support public health in our region, which is 12 towns in Southern Berkshire County. This is the wording that was given to us by the state. And it basically is just saying, that you guys will work with us, that you only use funds, our funds to support your municipal funding and only join one shared service arrangement as it is for like a public health excellence part of it, not necessarily like Berkshire's is a little bit unique in that we have the Berkshire Public Health Alliance, which is a leader in public health in our area. And then we're also here and many towns work with both of us. We're all kind of pulling on the same rope. So you'll be getting this. I'm going to embed our annual report in it, as well as the next thing, which is the scope of services. Did it just change for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so this is a menu of services that I had been working on, and this was the perfect opportunity for me to kind of put it together so that you guys kind of understood what we provide. And so we provide a menu of services to all of our towns. Some use us a lot, some don't use us at all. Like Tyringham, for instance, we're agents, they've only used us once. And it's all just basically in response to the needs of the town. We're always like, our role is to help you guys, or towns, achieve minimum standards. We don't want to reduce the capacity of public health in the town, so we're not allowed to supplant funds. And also sometimes we're too busy. Rebecca and I feel like we've done a pretty good job. There were some times when we were a little bit busier, but it's just a back and forth for making sure that we have the capacity to do the work that we say that we want to do. We basically have 4 main things that we provide. So public health nursing. So, and I'm going to go over that in a second, but basically it's a lump sum. Great Barrington has a already has a contract with us, and we provide all of the public health nursing through that. We also provide public health agent services. This is typically for towns that don't have professional staff. Great Barrington is a lucky town to have Rebecca to kind of manage all of those things. So, and that's typically a lump sum. And then public health inspectional services, which is really kind of what we're talking about. Right now we're doing the work just kind of to help bridge the gap. You guys have a need when your previous inspector went on temporary leave, and now that they're not here, we're just bridging the gap. And we are able to do that for like a finite period of time. And then after that, if the town decided like in January that they still needed help with just the inspections, then we could negotiate how much that would cost. But we are allowed to come into a town for a finite period of time and help them out as needed to just keep their head above water, which I kind of feel like that's what we're talking about here. That we also have a lot of public health initiatives and projects, and those are at no charge. We want for the towns to all benefit from them. And I think that Great Barrington has benefited from those public health initiatives. So kind of going over nursing services, we have our MAVEN coverage. Every day we get notified of communicable diseases, follow up with them, work with inspectors to follow up on foodborne illnesses, or you did have a TB case this year that we did what's called direct observational therapy. So literally every day, Jill or myself was watching someone take their medicine to make sure that that TB case is being addressed properly. We also are right in the middle of our fall mobile vaccine services, which have been very successful this year. We're also now a childhood vaccine provider, so we actually can provide all of the childhood vaccines to families who otherwise, we love for them to get vaccinated at their doctors, but there's a glut of primary care, or there's a lack of primary care for some kids. Sometimes people will move here and they can't get into school until they get vaccinated. That's what we are trying to do, is just fill that hole and work with the schools to make sure that they are able to understand who has which vaccinations, and either get the documentation or the vaccine for children to be fully vaccinated in the schools. We also, as part of your public health nursing services, will do medical reviews for camp inspections. It takes about 2 or 3 hours when done like the way that we're doing it. That comes with your public health nursing services. And then the additional nursing supports, which includes like the wellness topics for the senior center. And then we also have a robust car seat program, which kind of is public health nursing, but kind of other services. We talked about the agent services, so that not really relevant to Great Barrington. That's like permitting and weekly running of board offices, taking care of all of the questions from the public and turnovers and whatnot. And so then we get to inspectional services. So we can do regular and fill gap, which is what we're talking about for pretty much any inspections that the town would need. Right now, we are just kind of doing it as needed. If Rebecca gets something that comes in and she feels like it would be helpful, she reaches out to Jason and I, and I hope it's been working well. We go out and do the inspection, write up the report, and then run it back through the Board of Health, so that the Board of Health is never unaware of what's going on, which is super important to us. We've done, I think, I'm counting 4 different housing issues that were varying levels of complication. Probably the one on Pearl Street is the most complicated one, and you'll be hearing about that at the next meeting. So then our other initiatives that you might have seen around town, like Sharp's disposal program, there's now at the Hussey Dome. We're doing choke saver courses. The next one's coming up in a couple weeks. That's going to be in the Great Barrington Fire Station. We're working on educating and drafting draft policies for boards of health to consider whether they want to adopt them, specifically with septic systems this year, providing technical assistance, being at state and regional tables, and then other things that we've been doing, which seems like it grows all the time. That would include our resource guide, for instance. And then there's 4 of us that work. We have 3 full-time staff and 1 half-time staff. And so we have a good capacity to do these types of things, and just wanted to kind of explore that for you. Just a few things. You guys will also see, you know, where we issue our annual report, and there's specific things to Great Barrington. So if you look at it, you know, close enough, you can pull out the things that are relevant to Great Barrington. Like for instance, here's your active case of TB, which is we're no longer following. Same thing goes with like your Claire Teague Senior Center. We did 42 people who engaged with the sessions last year. We had a tick education program that was wildly successful. Our public health nurse Denise sat outside the Mason Library and gave out tick removal tools and did education. You know, we've installed 6 car seats for Great Barrington residents. And here's our clinic information from last year. We had 5 clinics, 544 people attended those clinics. And for Great Barrington residents across all of the clinics, we were able to give almost 300 COVID vaccine, and over 350 we were able to give them flu vaccine. So it is a popular program. Oh, these are more specific things. We've done the resource guide, which we added this last time. This is through Rania Markham. We added animal resources, veteran resources, immigration resources, special needs resources. So we're really proud of this resource guide, and you'll be seeing these be printed out. We're working with Rania Markham, and so in January, you'll see these printed out again. And I think we printed out 50 last year, and it was completely inadequate. So we would anticipate we'll probably print out about 400 or 500 of these next year. We have our Sharps program that's up and running. You know, the health department has long had a Sharps container in the Board of Health office. Rebecca was able to get that online after years of trying unsuccessfully. You know, there's one at the recovery center, at the emergency room, and now at Hussey Dome. We're really trying to make sure that whatever we provide, we're trying to focus in on Hussey Dome, because they're a isolated but yet densely populated area. So here's a list of all of our Sharps locations. Let's see. So the next thing we're going to talk about in a second, and I can wait, but we're going to talk about our Exhibit C. So I'm going to stop here. I know that was a lot of information. I don't know if it was too fast, but you know, Great Barrington holds a special place in my heart. Our public health nurse is from Great Barrington, and it's been nice to be able to work with you guys. So, you know, I know you're at a weird time right now. And so I think the 2 options that you have are to do it through a date specified, or because we would never do anything unless you guys asked us to do it, specifically Rebecca asked us to do it, you know, the town of Tyringham, for instance, just has a blanket that we're agents, but we've never done anything for them unless they call us and specifically asked. So those are kind of your 2 options available for this menu item. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dave.
So I have a couple questions. Number one is that for Rebecca, would you prefer that they take over some of the menu items, or would you select certain ones for them? I don't know what your preference is.
I think it's really nice to have them on call for an as needed, you know. I don't want to sound like I'm giving them the hard inspections, but you know, if someone calls me with a housing complaint that I know it's just gonna take, you know, 2 hours to really go through thoroughly. If Jane or Jason has the time to take that on, I'm happy to. And the same goes for any other kind of inspection. So I think just keeping it open-ended, instead of selecting specifically, like, you know, they'll take on food or they'll take on housing. I think just the ability to pass something on if I know I just don't have time that week to take care of it, would be helpful.
That'd be great.
In terms of how long we wanna extend the current situation, I mean, we could do to the end of the calendar year. I don't know if we'll have someone hired that fast. So it may make sense to do it for, I mean, 6 months or till we hire new staff, whatever comes first. Does that make sense?
Sure.
What do you think about that, Jane?
I
We
think
don't have
that
to
that,
just keep.
I think that, that would work. It obviously is your guys' decision. I will say that, the agent part really is like for the inspections because we're acting on your behalf, but I also want to make sure that you guys know, once you hire someone, we're happy to help, like supplement what Rebecca's doing with training, and mentor that person as well. And that's something we can talk about that is included as part of your membership. There would be no charge for that sort of thing. So, I mean, if you guys wanted to, what about if you just did it until you felt like you didn't need us anymore instead of having a date? I will tell you, it was a little bit hard with this one that I have on Pearl Street because it's kind of dragged out a little bit for one reason or the other. And like, I was like, we got to get in there before October 1st, because after that, it just makes it a lot. It just makes our standing of being there very muddy. And again, we would never do something without Rebecca asking us to do that specifically.
So would you propose that we keep it open-ended until we know that our needs have dropped over time? Keep this relationship open-ended.
Or we could have it to be until such time that we hire our inspector. We fill that position.
Yeah, I think the issue is that when you hire an inspector, you could hire them, you know, running on board and already very experienced, or you could have them come in and need quite a bit of training. So that, you know, the hiring as a deadline, would not work under certain circumstances. So that's why I was saying we should keep it open, until we know what is, you know, what our needs are.
We can do that. You okay with that, Amanda?
Sure.
Okay. So let's have it be until such time that our department head informs us that we no longer need to have this.
I guess but that's fine, if
Yeah.
you wanna, we can proceed
No, go ahead.
with that, but, and I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot, Jane, but I think at a certain, it's unreasonable to expect that the collaborative is gonna do this for free indefinitely. So I think that, you know, that's fine, like, we can be talking about two separate things here, you know, approve them as agents indefinitely, but the inspections being covered by the public health grant indefinitely is
Yeah.
not realistic. So I think, like Jane said at the beginning, you know, maybe there's room enough until the end of the year to get by with these services as needed, temporarily being covered by the public health excellence grant, but if this is going to be a much more regular involvement, we'll have to compensate them for their services, and maybe that's something that we have to start talking about now as we head into the budget season for fiscal year 27, but just so you understand the full scope
Yes.
of that, it's.
So would you
Well,
rather,
agree.
would you rather a date or would you rather,
It's,
or is it on that?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
If I may, I think Rebecca makes a good point, and thank you. I think maybe the agreement could be that we are willing to provide support through it would be great if the agent part of it was just open-ended so that we could act on your behalf without having to come to a meeting if asked. But like, maybe we could enter an agreement, either verbal or we could write it up, that we are happy to be a stopgap measure until such time as your person is up and running, or until December 31st. But then after December 31st, we should negotiate if you'd like to use us on a more regular basis, or in the future, we could talk about that and you would know what you had for funding at that time.
Yeah, I think we should, if we're gonna do something beyond the end of the year, we should have something written down for the record.
But we know our fiscal budget until June 30th, right? Our fiscal year is till the end of June.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard with fiscal law, if I may, because like you guys have buckets where you have municipal employees and it's a bucket that's for municipal employees. And you can't always take the money out of that bucket and apply it to a contractor. So there would be some figuring that it would be sitting down and figuring that out in January or for January.
So maybe the simplest thing is just to, as we originally were, just extend this enforcement authority till the end of the year, and we can revisit, and we'll see what it looks like. We're not getting any applicants, and it looks like we're gonna definitely need stuff for a longer term. And we can also get through the budget season and see what that's gonna look like.
And it. Unlike this time, I thought we were gonna have an inspector back
Yeah.
September 1st, and then that got pushed out, and then we ended up leaving, so. This time around, I think if we do have a set, expiration date. I need to work with Jane to make sure that there aren't any loose ends with inspections, and if there are. Just to be completely aboard, like, I'll take on the remainder of those inspections if we get to a point where we're beyond their agent capabilities or authority,
Okay, so,
But I think where we're leaving it is, it's likely that we'll extend that beyond December.
yeah,
But for right now, for just planning purposes, budget purposes.
And then at that time, the conversation would be around like, what would that look like other than us just, yeah, that works for us.
all right, so let's just do it to the end of the year, to December 31st, just to make it simple. And then that'll give you everyone time to anticipate and look at what we need to do after that.
Okay,
All right,
we'll make a motion.
so we'll look for a motion to,
Oh,
yes,
I don't know if we did this with the other agenda items, but I don't know if there are other people here. Just a reminder that before you vote, you have to ask if
Yes.
there's any.
all right, since this is a vote, since we are voting on this, then we can always take questions prior to any vote. And just so everyone's clear, this is just a vote on extending, this particular vote, it's just on extending enforcement authority to additional inspectors to cover our gap that we have, while we're missing our full-time inspector. So if there are any questions,
No questions on this. I think the next agenda item, I'd like
all
to
right, so
make some comments.
we'll look at, I'll take a motion then.
I made a motion to extend the relationship of using,
Southern Berkshire.
the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative to continue supporting our work till the end of the year. December 31st.
Okay, great. A second?
Aye.
All right, roll call will be Ruby.
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
Jane, did you have something you want to talk about Pearl Street? Was there anything that you wanted to run by us?
I mean, Rebecca, would it be okay if I just frame what they're
Yeah.
gonna be asked to look at for next, okay.
Okay.
So, one of the things that we did for Pearl Street, was we had a inspection. And, there were several things that, the house just needs some updating. It was initially because of a mold complaint. And we found things like flashing around the chimney, the ceilings that obviously had, leaking water. In the bathroom, there's not ventilation and there's mold on the ceiling in the hall outside. And then in the attic, this is a little bit of a bigger deal. There was a lot of creosote and the chimney really needs to be addressed. And so and then in the kitchen, the cabinets had fallen straight off. So here's some, you can see the flashing here. Here's the interior, that's all water traveling down. You can see the water and creosote dripping on the floor. This is in the attic. The flashing that's loose, that's causing some of the ceiling damages. And so, you know, I've been back there, only a couple things have been fixed. And I did run into, oh, here's the cabinets falling off the wall. Oh, you guys are looking at it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
But
I am
we're
so
gonna
sorry.
check this out.
But what it is that I talked to the homeowner actually at one of the clinics. And so the renter is moving out, actively trying to move out. And so if the when you guys hear it, you're going to hear the homeowner say that once the person moves out, that they would like an extension from the Board of Health to fix all of these things. And not let anyone, and have an inspection before anyone moves in. You guys can't talk about it or consider it for tonight, but that's kind of the request from the homeowner as they understand it. And I'm sorry I went on and on showing you pictures that you could not see.
That's okay. We'll look to see that next month.
Okay, great.
All right, so we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is a review of Exhibit C. And seems you are asking for us to accept proposed revisions of Exhibit C, otherwise known as the intermunicipal agreement.
That's right.
So what would be helpful in my mind is not only to go over what those changes are, but why you feel they're necessary.
Do you guys have the red line version in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, so the purpose of it, so basically, if you'll remember, when we first started, we were just public health nursing. We had no idea that we were going to grow and change into what we've kind of gone. So the three things is we want to make sure that it's clear that there's 12 communities in the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative, and this is coming off of the memo. The second one is we want to be able to have a little more room to expand additional ancillary services, like being an inspection or agent services or providing other programming, which wasn't really clear at first. And then the third thing is clean up some outdated language. So what that looks like, so this is the original, what I have up right here is the original IMA. We're not changing any of this. So it goes over who the advisory board is. It goes over all sorts of things. And really, we just wanted to change a few things, and which is why we have the red line version. So this is the old text, and then the red and blue is tracked changes. So when we first started, we didn't have a name. It was so it was Tri-Town, and of course we've grown past Tri-Town. We're our own entity, so it was Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative, and that also we're providing, but we want to make sure it's at the town's request. We don't want to do anything for a town that they're not requesting. So that was something that the board felt that it was important to include. The next one is public health nursing services for the 12 communities instead of 10. So that's something that we felt it was important. And the red, I think, is will include without limitation infectious disease surveillance. I think that was our lawyer that wanted us to do that. And so so cleaning up some languages, all member towns will have direct access to the nursing services and staff on a shared basis. And I think that reason why for that was just so that towns understood that we were being split between 12 towns. And so while we're not just like working for one town. This is the next part, the provide ancillary services and duties as needed to the member municipalities in order to provide the share services. That really opens up for us to, when asked, provide things like agent services or inspectional services where that really wasn't very clear that was within our scope of services before. And so they're very minor. That's why we don't have to bring it back through to get it signed. But the process is going to be that we're asking that you guys look and see the Exhibit C, and if you think that you're okay with it, vote that you support the proposed revisions. And then if you do that, to send it to the select board so that they're made aware of it as well. And then basically what would happen we would take the meeting minutes from these, from all of the different towns accepting Exhibit C or discussing Exhibit C, and that would be part of kind of the record of what we're doing.
Okay. So it seems in essence, these changes proposed are basically clerical and I don't see any, they're not, yes, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
Okay. And clarifying, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions from you, Peter, on this?
No.
Peter, that's your.
Okay, so since this is a voting item, we can take any questions from the public who wishes to ask.
Sure, first of all, it seems like, as you said, that's a clerical matter, so I don't see any particular issues with with that addendum or
Can
the.
you say your name?
Oh, sure, Daniel Sites, 31 Pleasant Street, in Great Barrington.
Mhm.
But I would caution this board to look carefully at joint activities with the collaborative. I noticed that there's a vaccine clinic around COVID vaccines. And actually, there's now extensive research showing multiple harms across different populations associated with the COVID shots. We know about, of course, myocarditis, strokes, heart attacks, but there's also studies that are showing decreased fertility. And there are also studies that show that that there's an inverse efficacy of these shots. The more shots you get, the more likely you are to come down with COVID. There's also increasing evidence around increased cancer cases associated with getting the COVID shots. There are studies on that. I have a 14-page document that compiles the various studies. So by virtue of being part of this collaborative, under number 10 of the agreement, you share liabilities with all the other proportionally for liabilities for expenses. Now, let's say someone goes to one of these COVID shot clinics and gets injured. I'm also wondering whether at these clinics there's proper informed consent, where anyone who's coming for a shot is told of all of the potential dangers associated with it. Even the manufacturers now tell you that death is one of the outcomes. So all I'm saying is you all are signed on to something that could actually be causing harm to people. It could potentially expose you to liability and so forth. So I just want to caution you. The other thing is, again, this, as you said, it's a more of a clerical change. But I do see something of a slippery slope as there are regional and more state control over individual Board of Health decision-making. And there's often this tendency to centralize control. And Massachusetts, unfortunately, has taken the route right now of saying they're going to disconnect with the CDC just at a time when the CDC is getting rid of the corporate control, the corporate capture of that agency. They've removed people with massive conflicts of interest. They're making data more publicly available and so forth. So again, first of all, let me say the things that you talked about today, very worthwhile. Rebecca's doing important work with inspections and food inspections and so forth. I'd love to know that you look at septic systems and whatnot. But on these larger issues of offering vaccines without looking into the research and the harm that can be caused by them, I think you may be lending your name to something that you really wouldn't want to if looked at carefully. So I'm going to share this with you. You can have this, but I think it's again very important to not just accept what you might say the mainstream narrative that's been circulated for years on this.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else who'd like to speak to this before we vote? Not seeing any hands, I'll look for a motion to approve the amendments to Exhibit C.
I make a motion to approve the amendments to Exhibit C.
And roll call will be Peter,
Aye.
Ruby, and I vote aye as well. All right,
Thank you very much,
Yep.
guys.
hold on, Rebecca has something for you, yep.
So when this goes before the select board, will they need to re-sign it?
No, there's no re-signing. You guys approved it, and then basically it would be kind of like what you do for the zoning board where they would just support it. They don't necessarily need a vote, but procedurally, a lot of times they would want to. And I'm happy to go to that meeting to do a short presentation. I won't get quite as involved as I got with you guys.
When is the next time that we all have to re-sign the IMA?
So there's no deadline on the IMA. We looked at it at the last meeting or maybe 2 meetings ago, and there's actually no deadline. If we wanted to redo the IMA, it would just be from the executive board decided that they wanted to do that. But they took a look and decided that it still stands for now. Pretty much what we with very few changes, most of which were taken care of in Exhibit C.
Okay, all right, great, thank you, Jane, for coming,
Thank
good to
you.
see you.
Nice to see you guys too. Keep up the good work.
Bye. You too, have a good evening. All right, our next agenda item is Alta Solar. And I believe, who are we looking for? Yes,
Rebecca Hughes.
that's it. Just a moment, Rebecca, we'll get you as a panelist. And if my memory serves, where we left it last was we were waiting to hear from Alta Solar on what, if any, actions they're gonna take concerning the issue over there at 263 Park Street in that vicinity. So Rebecca, you're here if you would like to.
Stephen is one of the occupants too, if
Okay,
at some point.
yes. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Hi, yes, thanks for having us back. I'm Rebecca Hughes, the Associate General Counsel at Altus Power. I've also invited our local counsel, Alex Glover. She's in attendance in person, just because last time there were some questions of local and Maine law or Massachusetts law. So I thought she could be helpful if they come up again. But I had sent a statement in advance on behalf of the company, and I was going to read it now for the record. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to allow Altus to provide more information regarding our solar system located at 0 Park Street. To start, I'd like to provide a little more detail around the solar system and Altus's role. The solar system is a 3,298.4 kilowatt DC system. It is considered a large commercial scale installation. The system was constructed in late 2015, achieving commercial operation on March 31st, 2016. The solar system is part of the net metering credit program, which allows customers to offset their energy costs. Briefly, how this works, the solar array generates power, which is sent directly to the grid. The utility pays us for this power in the form of a monetary credit applied to utility bills. Customers purchase these credits from Altus at a fixed discount, in this case 20%. Those credits are then applied to the customer's electricity bill, ultimately lowering their monthly electric payment because over the course of a year, the purchase price of the solar credits is less than the utility bill without the credit applied. The customers receiving and benefiting from the credits from the Park Street solar system are the town of Great Barrington, Berkshire Hills Regional School District, and Adams Fire Department. Speaking to the actual inverters and the humming noise. The humming noise is coming from the inverters. The inverters are a direct current electricity. Then the inverters convert the direct current electricity, which is what a solar panel generates, to alternating current electricity, which is what the electrical grid uses. It is an essential piece of equipment for any solar system. The inverters used at this site are a Solectria SGI 500 XTM and SGI 750 XTM, which were designed for large commercial or utility scale solar systems. At the time they were installed, these inverters were a top of the line product for the size and scale of our solar project and were not, as previously suggested, cheap. Solar technology has developed rapidly over the last 10 years. Solectria discontinued producing this model in 2017, which we believe is a consequence of newer and more advanced technologies becoming available on the market. However, solar equipment, including these inverters, are constructed to last the life of the project. For commercial scale projects like ours, the lifespan is 35 to 40 years. While the inverters are no longer produced, they are still serviceable and regularly maintained. Because of the integral role inverters play, the system is designed with the specific type of inverters involved. Additionally, the utility also has input into the type of inverter used, given it will connect to the grid. Replacing the inverter is not a simple nor easy task. Not only would it require utility approval, but it is also technically complicated. Other major equipment, such as transformers and AC switchgear, would have to be changed to accommodate a new type of inverter. The whole system would need to be redesigned. Such an undertaking would require the site to be offline for a number of months, which would impact the customers who benefit from the solar system, who would experience increased electricity costs for the duration the site is offline. Altus constructed this solar system and owns it, but we were not the original developer. The developer was Mr. Kurt Malin through a company called Housatonic Solar One. Mr. Malin would have been involved at the special permit stage, which we understand is the permit and supporting documentation Dr. Chain referred to in the August meeting, when she stated the inverters appeared in a different location. We have reviewed a copy of the special permit and note the inverters do not appear on the site plan. If Dr. Chain was referring to a different permit, we kindly request you please share that with us. Further, we have reviewed our internal records as well as the building permits on file with the town and have found nothing to indicate that the inverters were ever contemplated to be installed anywhere other than the eastern side of the array. Certainly from the point Altus Power became involved with the construction of the project, it was settled that the inverters would be installed on the eastern side. All of the building permits approved by the town of Great Barrington and on file with the town reflect the inverters in their current location. In the last board meeting, we were asked why the inverters were installed on the eastern side. As stated, there were a number of jurisdictional as well as geographical limitations that affected the construction of the site and the placement of the inverters. Most significantly, with respect to the placement, the array is built on top of a brownfield site, which is subject to an activity and use limitation, AUL. Please note, the AUL is depicted on the first page of the special permit site plan and the final site plan approved by the town on 12/17/2014. Everything to the left of the activity and use limit line was subject to the AUL, while everything to the right is outside of the AUL. The AUL conservatively restricts the use of the property, including underground utility indoor construction activities. The AUL area was historically used as a disposal site for waste materials. A comprehensive site assessment completed in 2010 determined the buried waste consists predominantly of paper, plastic, bricks, and scrap metal. In addition, materials such as ash, dyes, paste-like materials, and discarded drums were observed. Environmental sampling results demonstrated that releases of hazardous material and oil had occurred, including volatile organic compounds, but primarily chromium, lead, and other metals. As part of the development and permitting process, Mr. Malin submitted a modified release abatement measure plan, RAM, to the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, dated August 11th, 2014. We've provided the board with a copy. This plan sets out the history of the site and the steps taken to ensure the best practices were observed during construction. While not strictly a landfill, given the presence of buried waste, the design and construction of the solar site adopted best management and engineer practices for covered and capped landfills. With respect to the inverters, the RAM plan set out a concrete pad on 6-inch gravel foundation will be installed on the eastern side of the array, which will hold electrical equipment, including inverters, among other things, where electrical power from the solar panels will be conveyed to new utility poles, which will carry the electrical power out to Park Street. All underground conduits will be trenched and run wherever possible in the non-AUL area, and all wire runs and conduits within the AUL area will be above ground. Underground conduits are used to connect the inverters to the national grid utility poles. As you can see from the diagrams, the inverters were placed in the only non-AUL area available. We believe this explains why the inverters were built on the eastern side, as well as highlights why relocating the inverters to another part of the site is not a feasible option. Turning now to the noise complaint. The board's sound investigation shows that the sound levels range between 35 to 62 decibels, with 2 to 7 decibels increase based on traffic noise. As acknowledged by the board in August, the testing, including the 2022 testing Altus conducted, shows the site is in compliance with the applicable noise ordinance. although we'd like to better understand what instrumentation the board used for your sound report, as it wasn't noted in the report. The hum of the inverters fluctuates. It will be highest during the day when the sun is shining. At night, the inverters will not be converting electricity, so no buzz is in existence. The board's sound report reflects this, showing the lowest decibels being recorded at 7:38 in the morning and the highest recording occurring at 2 p.m. 35 to 62 decibels are within the range of what is generally considered quiet to normal noise. A whisper with a noise level of 30, while a normal conversation typically registers at 60. Most daily items used in the home, washing machines, air conditioners, dishwashers, refrigerators, have a noise level of 50 to 60 decibels. The buzz of the inverters at their peak is no more than the average home appliance. With respect to the consistent nature, in 2022, Altus conducted sound testing against Mass DEP Noise Policy Statement 90-0001, February 1, 1990, which tested against pure tone conditions. A pure tone condition occurs when any octave band sound pressure level exceeds both of the two adjacent octave band sound pressure levels of 3 decibels or more. The 2022 testing found that the site does not produce a pure tone condition. As mentioned last month, we've engaged Tech Environmental on potential remediation solutions that would decrease the noise level of the inverters. Sound remediation looks to decrease the sound by a noticeable level, which is at least 5 decibels. An on-site evaluation with the manufacturer took place on September 15th, 2025, where it was found all inverters were operating normally, no abnormal sound levels were observed. Copies of each report were shared with the board. We've explored 3 potential remediation options. The first is building a U-shaped wall at least 10 feet high around each pad, which is estimated to reduce the sound by 5.7 to 5.9 decibels. The second is building a curved cantilever U-shaped wall between 10 to 12 feet high around each pad that is estimated to reduce the sound by 10.4 to 11 decibels. And the last was fully enclosing the inverters, which is estimated to reduce the sound by only 13 decibels, as enclosing would still require openings for ventilation and air intake. All options are complex and costly. The cost estimates for these options range from $100,000 for option 1 to a starting cost of $250,000 for option 3. At this stage, we believe we have looked at every avenue in Altus's control. While we recognize the inverters create some measurable additional amount of noise when the sun is shining, given the high cost associated with remediation, there is no feasible option at this point that Altus can take. We reiterate we are compliant with the town noise ordinance and Mass DEP rules and regulation. Due to the topography of the site, there is no other feasible alternative other than as detailed. We have not explored, however, whether there is some type of remediation possible at the top of the slope on the land of the property owners. Thank you for listening. We're available to take any questions.
Okay, thank you for that statement. Any questions from the board?
I had one question concerning the document that you had. First of all, I want to thank you for the statement. I thought it was very comprehensive, and thank you for reading it out. On the August 11, 2015 document that you had provided for us, there is a plan that's called SL-2, I believe. It's under the this is the original document while we were applying for the solar field. And I believe it's Appendix A. And there's
Are you, sorry, are you talking about the RAM plan, the August 11th, 2015?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And when you look at Appendix A, if you look at the map that's SL-2, there's a purple hatched area that says that it is a, I'm just trying to open it up a little bit. There's a purple hatched area that says electrical interconnection location. And that's what I was talking about, and that is quite close to the road. And it's, I don't believe that's where the noise is coming from, is that right?
So this sheet.
Yeah,
um,
I just wanted to ask about that.
Which one?
Uh,
Sorry, the one that says electrical easement?
It's the plan that is SL,
It's the next page down, I believe.
it's in
There's a colored,
sheet SL
yeah, right there.
dash one. Right,
Mhm.
so right there, there's that purple hatched area. On it, it says electrical interconnection area.
So this
Uh,
is where I believe the national grid poles are, this hatched area. That's the point where our site is interconnecting to the poles.
So that's not where you had addressed the inverter sites. Is that correct?
Correct. The inverters are in this area over here to connect to that hatched area.
Okay, so you don't have the inverter sites on that plan. So my question to you is, were you aware when you presented this plan that the inverters do cause a noise? And were the people approving of the plan aware of it?
So we did not present this plan, Mr. Kurt Malin, so I cannot speak to what he knew or didn't know about the placement.
So this was placed without any mention whether the inverter would cause a certain noise at 60 decibels. And the planners who approved of this plan were not aware at all about the noise level. Is that
I was
correct?
not involved in the approval process, so I would
Right.
either have to consult with people at my company who were I do not know what was discussed in the approval meetings. I just know they were approved.
So I read through this initial document. There was no mention of noise. And it just wasn't mentioned, so that nobody knew about it. And so people who are neighbors had no awareness of it as well. And I would assume that the inverters have been placed in other sites and the engineers are aware that it does make noise. Is that correct?
I cannot speak to what engineers know when they place inverters.
So this was not discussed. As far as I can see from this document, modified release abatement measure plan.
No,
So-
the purpose of this document was to show they were contemplated to be placed on the eastern side as far back as August, as when the plan was
Right,
filed.
it did say that.
Mhm.
It did say that, but it didn't say anything about noise or noise levels. Even though this is a well-known inverter that has been top of the line, you know, at the, very complicated and, a relatively, dependable type of inverter, there was no mention of noise.
It would appear so. I would say this is partially where the topography comes in. On a flat, if the land was not elevated, on a flat site, you would have the natural vegetative barriers that would help absorb the sound that do not exist at this specific site.
Right. So I'm pointing this out mainly because the people that applied did not present it to us, and therefore it didn't allow the neighborhood to give voice to this issue. This is a nuisance.
I don't truly know what to say to that besides it was approved and we constructed, and like I said, I was not involved in that process, so I know nothing further than what the board
see.
knows.
So Rebecca, if I were to sum up,
Mhm.
is it fair to say that Altus is saying that these inverters are, and you've had an inspection with the manufacturer, that they're performing as expected to the standards that they're supposed to operate? And that you're saying the noise experienced by the residents of 263 Park Street is no more than to be expected from a normal home appliance?
We were making comparisons and we were pointing out we are in compliance with the applicable laws to the site.
I see. And skipping down to the end of your statement, when you outlined 3 possible remedial steps that could be taken, were you saying that due to the high cost of these steps that you would not be taking any of them, or it's still under deliberation?
At this time, there's been no approval to take any further action, so we're not taking any further steps.
Okay. All right. Any further questions?
No, I just wanted to point out that something that is that important was not addressed in the reports that was given to us.
It sounds like the noise of these inverters was never mentioned by anyone at any point.
Right, after
Right.
reading through all of the data and all of the paperwork.
But
And I assume that the inspection that was done by Yaskawa, done on September 15th, that was done in some capacitors were replaced. So this is like a standard maintenance that they did for this inverter site to keep it maintaining it, because it looks like there are multiple reports that indicated they did a number of different things to make sure that the inverter sites were up to par, that the maintenance were done to completion. So they did the maintenance and they did the sound study. There was no pure tone issues, and it's less than 60 decibels is what we have.
yes,
So I'd like to hear what Stephen Padivo,
okay,
okay, I think his hands. up.
yes, he's here. If there's no more questions from the board, then we can take comment or question from the resident at 263. Just a moment, Stephen. All right, Stephen, you should be able to ask any questions or address the board. Oh, you're muted, sir.
Muted. Well, good evening. Thanks for having us. I really appreciate being here.
Your
Um,
name
I'm,
and address.
I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. A couple things to note that I'm interested in.
Just a moment. For the record, this is Stephen Padigo, and you reside at 263 Park Street. Is that correct?
That's right. I'm the neighbor that's just dealing with the appliance noise, apparently. That Rebecca's saying that it only is making the sound of a running of a gentle washing machine or a dishwasher. I just want to make a couple points. First and foremost, I think Rudy has pointed out a really important point, which is that when the site was developed, not all the evidence and all the information was put forth for the neighborhood to be able to make it to be able to voice concerns regarding this development. And even if they were not the developer, they are currently the current property owner, and I think they should be held accountable to have to remediate and deal with the issue. Number two, Rebecca's talking just a little bit about the sound and the decimal level. The challenge, and I think as I said the last time when I was with you guys, and my apologies for not being more polished this evening, just getting off of an airplane, is that this was a constant tone. The problem with this is that it is constant. That if I was to have you, as I said before, I invited all 3 of you out for coffee in the morning at 7:30 in the morning, and I had you stay through lunch, and we had a cocktail outside in the afternoon, and you left at dinner time, it would be a constant buzzing sound, a constant sound, constant, 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 much louder than a dishwasher or a washing machine, as Rebecca's pointing to. Thirdly, I would say that you've got Rebecca making statements as if she was an engineer. She's making statements about noise, about sound remediation, and frankly, one of the things that's really frustrating with this entire situation is Altus hasn't brought to us an expert in the space who actually has the credibility to respond to the questions that we're putting forth. They keep giving us the general counsel who's reading an elaborate statement that frankly is just stonewalling to the situation. And thirdly, finally, this is a $2 billion company, my friends, $2 billion company. Many times that when we had their project manager out to our house, Liam, the gentleman that you heard from last session, stood on our front porch and told us this was not going to be $100,000 or $150,000 or $200,000 remediation, that this would be at most a $25,000 remediation. And so one of the things I would love for you all as the board to do is let's hold their feet to the fire. Let's have project estimates. Let's get real costs associated with it, hold them accountable. Again, we have to hold this group accountable. The entire development was not done in good faith. And now that they are the property owner, they are the owner of this, they have become they are a nuisance for the neighborhood. And if we let them off on this, there's no remediation for this. It's blasphemy to me.
Okay,
I would love to take if I would love for Rebecca to come out and let me take the buzzing sound and put it at her house and let it run 24 hours a day or 12 hours a day. And she told me that it just sounds like a dishwasher, by the way.
okay.
I mean, if I
Yeah.
think just very quickly.
Yes.
Can you
Mr. Petito
introduce
said.
yourself, please?
Sure, and I didn't mean to interrupt Mr. Petito, so if he's still.
My name is
speaking, I don't wanna-
Pettigo. Thank you.
Thanks, no, so I don't want to interrupt him if he's still.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, I think we gave a statement last time. I think we made our point pretty clear. I mean, the reality is that this is a nuisance. And basically the neighbor and the neighbor in the neighborhood is telling everyone just to go to hell, and that we just have to live with the fact that they are the nuisance in the neighborhood. That's essentially what we've been told. And again, I would invite you all out to the property. I mean, that's one of the things I think I'd invite you all out to the property to experience it. I don't think Rebecca, have you been out to the property, my friend, to hear it? Have you been out at 2 o'clock on an afternoon to hear the buzzing sound that sounds like a washing machine that you've pointed to? I don't think you have, because you wouldn't be making that type of statement because it's blasphemy.
Yeah, all right, well,
Is your house higher in elevation compared to the site of
It
the
is.
inverter?
It is.
So does the sound travel up toward you?
It does. Yeah, it does.
And does it worse when?
And there's no, and to that end, there's no fencing on their property at all, right? There's no buffer at all. That's it's not just buffers around the inverter. There's no buffers around the entire property at all. The sound is just, there's nothing blocking the sound whatsoever.
Hmm,
okay,
okay.
maybe you'd like to make a statement.
I was just very briefly, I'm Alex Glover, I am the local counsel for Altus Power. Just a few quick things is that I know the board is aware that the reference to like a washing machine, that's just a reference to like the chart that OSHA puts out to lay understanding of the equivalent sort of noises that we're used to against decibel levels. So that was just a factual lining up the measured decibel levels against the OSHA chart, and there are other charts out there that give different examples of what it would sound like to hit a decibel level at 40 or 50.
It's the constant tone, though. It is the constant tone it is the constant tone. I'm telling you right now, if you were to come from 7 in the morning tomorrow to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it will buzz all day long.
Okay, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, just a few other things. The other thing I'll say is that, during the time I've been working with Altus Power, they've been extremely concerned and involved in looking at this situation. They've had multiple people out to the site. They have talked not only to their own people, but to other professionals to try to see what options there could be. I'm not sure what discussions took place at the time of that 2015 report. But whether or not noise is mentioned in it, I don't know that we can come to a conclusion
I
either way
read through
about
the
what's
whole
happening.
report, there was no.
No, I understand. I wasn't saying it wasn't in the report, I was just saying, I don't.
Yeah,
think we know what
the idea
happened.
that they've been a good neighbor and having people out all the time to look at, again, that's not true. We had before, before reporting this to the board, we've actually outreached to Altus multiple times and got stonewalled basically from the company and got nothing. This is the furthest opportunity of conversation where we've actually had to been able to hold them sense accountable. And I appreciate you guys hearing this in July. I think it was in August and now here in October, but that's actually not a true statement. They have actually not been good neighbors and been looking to remediate on this issue.
And just for clarification, the solar field began operation, when did that begin?
2016, I believe, March.
March 2016.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah,
And Stephen, you bought your house when?
We had our house in 2019. Yeah, 2019.
2019. Okay, thank you for that.
so I just, point out what the board already knows, that inverters make noise. They do generate some level of noise. And that these particular inverters have been measured, with Mark Stinson from the DEP reviewing it, with this board, with other outside sound engineers who have measured it, and this is compliant with the state level, with the local level, Great Barrington's requirements for noise. So I don't think, Altus isn't denying that the inverters do generate some noise, but that after the research they've done and the testing that's been done, that it is within legal limits, and that given the age of these inverters and the style of these inverters, that it would be tremendously expensive to place the cover around them and circle them or encapsulate the noise. And as Rebecca Hughes said, if you encapsulate it in some way, you still have to leave venting. So there's no way to completely cover them.
So we're
but
not
it's-
actually looking for a perfect solution. We're looking for some reduction. I think that was the initial conversation when we met actually in August. When we met with the board, we actually knew that we would never get to having no noise whatsoever. I just want to be on. It's this question that they know that they are a nuisance to the neighborhood. I mean, they've got Rebecca, who's the general counsel here, telling us here. They've got their attorney in town telling us that they are a nuisance to the neighborhood. They know this. They keep claiming to want to be good neighbors, yet not willing to do anything. $2 billion company, my friends, a $2 billion company. And by the way, we don't know. I mean, we don't know what the estimates are. By the way, in the report that Rebecca gave the board, which we haven't seen, by the way, is there a project estimate for what the construction's cost would be to put these these encounters around the inverters? Or are we just taking Altus's word that it's going to be $100,000 to $200,000 to build 3 wooden sheds around 3 inverters?
We
I know installation costs are high at construction, but I can't
with
imagine
Tech
it's that high.
Environmental to prepare the remediation options. And
Well, it's
they
funny, your
fed
project
into,
engineer, Liam, again, who stood on
Excuse me,
representative of
Stephen,
your company, said they could be done for less than $25,000.
Stephen, I don't want to get into a back and forth. We've heard Altus's response to our inquiry, and we have your statements and we understand your position. So I think at this time, we will take this matter under further consideration and decide as a board how we want to proceed. And I think that means all of us individually going away from this meeting tonight and considering what we want to do. What's the next steps we want to take, if any, and we will confer with Rebecca as we do to be in compliance with open meeting law. But I think for tonight, I'm satisfied that we've heard a response that we asked for. And
I'd like to make
sure,
two requests. Number one is, I would like to see the actual baffle that is proposed that would mitigate the sound. I like to see it. I like to see what it looks like. And number two, I would like to see the cost. And what is it made out of and what the actual cost is. Rather than just have a quote from Altus, because I think that is a reasonable request. Number two is I'd like to confer with legal counsel for our Board of Health. These are the two requests that I recommend.
All right, Rebecca, is that something that you would be willing to supply our board with, or are you characterizing it that that Altus has gone as far as they're going to go, and since they are not considering further steps that,
I don't know if I can commit to the cost. We can
Because they
probably
made the
get
cost
you
up.
the design. No, there are a number of factors that go
That's
into
crazy.
the cost breakdown that are hard to do in advance, but we can still get estimates. We can work with tech engineer or tech environmental to provide, see what they can provide.
okay.
And I would like to take a bit of time to speak with our legal counsel and see what they recommend.
Okay, yes, that's fine. Peter, any comments?
No, I think we're gonna have some discussion about possible follow-up. I don't have any comments at this time.
Right, okay,
I think Irene had a hand up for this issue.
All right. yes. Eileen, we'll get to you in just a moment. And Stephen, do you have any final comments?
Yeah,
before we?
I just wanted to make a point that Rebecca illustrated my point is they actually haven't done cost estimates. If they had done cost estimates, these would be very easily available to give to you all as the board. It would have been part of the packet. The idea that we keep quoting at $25,000, $100,000, $200,000, there's been no estimates done, my friends. That was just demonstrated that Rebecca couldn't point to the estimates. So that's all I wanted to say. I really appreciate
Okay,
you taking
great.
this up though.
Okay, thank you. And Eileen, did you have a question for us? Just a moment, you should be able to. There we are. You're muted, Eileen, if you're trying to speak.
Okay,
Very good.
I had two questions. I would like a copy of the report that Ms. Hughes read, please. I don't know if the board can provide it. Do you have it? Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. And when you're getting the estimates, is it possible for the Board of Health to get them from an independent consultant or a different company?
In theory, it's possible if we pursue it to that extent. It's always possible to do things like that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Eileen. And thank you, Rebecca, tonight for coming, and thank you, Alex, as well. And
Thank you.
thank you, Stephen. And we'll continue on with our agenda for tonight's meeting. And our next and last agenda item is a review of the updated work for improvements at 38 Christian Hill Road. And is there anyone here to talk about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do they need to be here?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry.
Because I don't think there's anything that we need to vote on tonight.
Okay.
The last time we spoke about this, which was maybe July or August. You asked the contractors to come back with a different proposal that would maybe include the work needed to completely lift the condemnation order. So I got that today via email. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I have an estimate here from Green River Contracting, which were the people that we spoke with at the last meeting, and, we didn't have any documentation then, but they were talking about the renovations, being exclusively to a kitchen and bathroom, cosmetic renovations, but what I have here, and you can look at it too, includes, mold remediation, structural support in the basement, including 6 new posts. Stairway will be repaired in place as part of this proposal. And I think I saw a new roof. Somewhere to replace all of the roof except the front slope of the main roof, including a replacement of 30 feet. So, if you wanna look at this, I mean, there's nothing to vote on, but.
Does
it
this
is-
report address all the items in our order? That's what we had asked for whatever. I mean, they have to do the work and then still have us back out to. Right,
Yeah.
so does this,
Just FYI,
No,
yes,
just for us to know.
yes, but we're not sure if this addresses all the items yet.
no, I can confirm tomorrow.
Okay, that would be good to know, just to see. Okay. All right. So I'm guessing, are we asking them to come to another meeting, or they just need to supply us with that list? I think that's where we left it. We left temporary lifted to do the work, but we asked for them to, their work to include all the items on the correction order. So we just have to verify that they're all accounted for.
Do you want progress reports from them as they're,
I think they,
keep it on the agenda
no, I don't,
another month or so?
I don't think we need to, as long as they know that you have to come and re-inspect.
Okay.
And you'll have that checklist. So I think that's fine.
Mhm.
All right. Department updates.
Okay, so the Berkshire County Board of Health Association is having their fall event on October 30th. These are the fall dinners. They used to have the biannual dinner, one in the spring and then one in the fall, but attendance just not really been there since the pandemic, so they're doing one event a year and it's like 4 o'clock to 6 p.m. This year they're doing appetizers and then an emergency planning tabletop card game exercise. So if you wanna go, let me know. I have to sign you up. Tickets are $30. You said
I
no.
can't wait. Sure, no.
Peter.
So date again?
October 30th, that's at the Pittsfield Country Club. I believe they're doing a taco bar for appetizers.
Yeah, let me reach out to you tomorrow about that.
Okay, no pressure. And my last update, I already said, is that James, his last day was October 6th. The job posting has been advertised and we're gotten some promising applications, so I'm hoping to start at least one round of interviews by the end of the month. So as always, if you're interested in tagging along on the interviews, just let me know. And I think for the first round, I might just do Zoom this time, and if we call someone back for a second interview in person.
Let me know about the second one. I think I might take them if I can make it one.
Okay.
Okay. If that's all, are there any questions, citizens speak questions or media questions?
Public comment.
Yes, all right, you get
As I
the-
said here?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
We'll keep you to the 3 minutes.
Sure, that's fine.
3
Yeah,
minute
yeah.
time.
Okay,
And
so
just
first,
name- just
oh,
name-
sure, Daniel Sykes, 31 Pleasant Street in Great Barrington. So first of all, as I mentioned before, there's been excellent positive news on the public health nationally with Secretary Kennedy now head of HHS. He's committed to making information publicly available. He's looking into the impact of aluminum in vaccines, looking forward to identify the causes of autism. And one of the things that's interesting that's come out recently is a greater knowledge that childhood vaccines have actually never been tested genuinely against placebos, meaning comparing populations of vaccinated children against children who are unvaccinated. But recently, a long suppressed study came out called The Impact of Childhood Vaccines on Short and Long-Term Chronic Health Outcomes in Children. was released. And what they looked at was roughly 18,000 children born between 2000 and 2016, 16,000 of which had vaccines, about 2,000 who had not. And what the conclusion of the study found was that exposure to vaccination was independently associated with an overall 2.5-fold increase in the likelihood of developing a chronic health condition when compared to children unexposed to vaccines. The association was primarily driven by asthma, atopic disease, eczema, autoimmune disease, and neurodevelopment disorders. And of course, we've seen a skyrocketing of immune compromised children, chronic conditions among children in the number of years since vaccines were given immunity to liability. So I want to show this to you. The study, the people who engaged in this study thought they would find the opposite, that childhood vaccines did improve health. And when they found this inconvenient conclusion, this was just simply shunted aside. But there's now a documentary film out on this called An Inconvenient Study. It just came out. I would recommend that you all look into that. Also, just to say that, as I pointed out earlier, COVID shots have proven to be neither safe nor effective. And there's a bill now before the State House to make it, to forbid the state government from mandating COVID shots for anyone, whether going to school, for part of business, and so forth. And it'd be wonderful if you all would get behind that bill, advocate for it. I think it's important that people on the grassroots level start to express this idea that there's a fundamental human right not to be forced to get any medical procedure against your will. And in fact, in Florida now, that is, if I understand from my reading, has become the law in Florida, that no parents can be forced to get their children vaccinated, or parents get vaccinated, or whatever. So I know I'm at the 3-minute mark, but let me just say that also vaccine skepticism among parents is at an all-time high. Uptake of COVID boosters has dropped precipitously. People are waking up and are starting to question the unscientific vaccination narrative that has been pushed for many decades now. So I hope that you. I hope that you all will take the time to inform yourselves about this. Yes, I hope that you take the time to inform yourselves and that you start to support these.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
If there's nothing further, we'll take our final vote for adjournment. Let's look for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Oh, there's a, sorry, Eileen, we won't forget you. Just a moment. You should be good to go, Eileen. You unmute? There we go.
Okay. He left. I wanted to ask him if he meant to avoid all vaccinations, but he's gone. So,
Yes, I'm not sure the context of your question, but
oh, Daniel Sykes said to avoid vaccination, and I wasn't sure whether he meant all vaccinations or just one or two.
oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Right.
if you catch him in the street, you can pull him aside.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, Eileen.
All right, and before we adjourn, next meeting date, since this meeting was not our usual time, are we gonna just go for first Thursday in November?
Sure.
All right,
I'm wondering if we should look at November, December, January, just with the holidays, and
sure.
we already had just talked about potentially moving the meeting out to the 8th of January.
Right, all right, so why don't we do that? So November looks like, unless there's conflicts with everyone, we can keep with November 6th, which is the first Thursday.
Yep.
All right, for December, we could keep the first Thursday, which is the 4th. And as you mentioned, January should be the 8th.
Let's plan on those for now, if that works for everybody.
That works for me.
That's fine, with me.
Okay, all right, so Nothing further on our list. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
And our final roll call for the evening is Peter,
Aye.
Ruby,
Hi.
and I vote as well. Thank you both and enjoy the rest of the fall weather.